Sure we are. So today I want to tell you a story about the animals. Some time ago, there was a scientist. His name is Charles Darwin. He set off from England in a ship called the Beagle. And he made a course to Ecuador, territory of Ecuador called the Galapagos Islands, which is about 50 miles west from the country of Ecuador, which is part of under the jurisdiction of the Ecuadorian government. Charles Darwin had a theory. I guess people call it the theory of evolution. So he wanted to go study these birds, these finches that live on the Galapagos Island. When Charles Darwin got there, he encountered finches that were never exposed to any humans, and they were so friendly that these finches would land in his hand. They would land in man's hand, because I guess they didn't know if man was friendly or predator or friend or foe, right? So they gave man the benefit of the doubt. The image of God theory was with these birds, and they trusted their lives to Charles Darwin. And what this asshole did next was he would snuff out their lives, and he would pin them on like a science project sheet, cardboard, right? And he would label such things as, oh, this bird has this type of beak, this bird has this type of feathers, so forth and so on, right? Because he was trying to write the origins of species. In doing so, he had forgotten all about God. He wouldn't bow his head down to God and worship God and love God with all his heart and all his soul, and to serve God daily. He wouldn't do this. And because he wouldn't bow down his head to God, he returned to the Beagle, his ship. And he bowed down to eat what comes out of a bird's asshole, the chicken's egg. But the chicken only has one A hole and not any B hole. It has only one exit, wherein it farts, it urinates, it defecates, pretty much everything a human does through their asshole, that bird does through its one exit and more, by laying this egg, right? And Charles Darwin would bow his head down and put it to his mouth and eat it, even though an egg is not a dietary essential or a dietary supplement. Vegans prove this. But he went on to write his works, Origins of Species, by Charles Darwin, in which became very famous. Everybody was in awe with it and enthralled by it, and say, what a brilliant genius this is. It's because humans have a propensity to adhere to ignorance and ineptitude through their own sophomoricness that this happens. Because they too did not bow down their head and worship God. So they too bowed down their heads and ate what came out of a chicken's asshole. But it doesn't end there. No, it doesn't end there. Because thereafter, humanity engages in intimacy with one another when they use things that comes out of an animal or a byproduct of an animal or the animal's skin or whatever. And this is called necrobestiality, if it's with a dead animal, of course. So you have people like eating beef jerky and hot dogs and hamburgers and steaks and chops and having oral sex thereafter. You have people purchasing leather belts, couches, and having intercourse upon those things thereafter. Necrobestiality again. And then of course you have people who make like lambskin condoms, sheepskin condoms. That of course is the skin of a dead animal. Therein they commit necrobestiality. You have people moments earlier holding beef jerky, and then moments later masturbating with the same hand. This is necrobestiality. You have people sending sperm into the mouths when they have food stuck inside between their teeth. This is necrobestiality. But instead of bowing down to God and admitting the truth, man invents things like floss and toothpicks just to extricate the dead animal from the teeth so that they can preserve their teeth for one, and another, perhaps to preserve their dignity by hiding their shame. So fast forward to the present time, and we look at the what our contemporaries are going through, and just recently, and still ongoing till this day, is the disease of the zoonotic disease of COVID-19 caused by the coronavirus. And the scientific community is still questioning, well, how did this SARS virus develop its proteins, spike proteins, to be able to latch on to the human lung cells, the alveoli? And they are blaming one another of this of the manifestation of this disease, this virus that causes the disease of COVID-19. Hell, some people even look upon me and say, hey man, why you bring the sickness into the world? Or make coughing jokes, or say corona, and so forth and so on, bearing false witness on me and have nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, I've been trying to urge humanity to live a clean life and let the animals go. You see these animals, you look into the eyes and you see them flying around and walking about, and all of a sudden you want to put their butts to your face after you cook them, but beforehand you don't even kiss them on the cheeks. You don't even love them in a inhumane way. But after they're dead, you instead of putting their cheeks to your mouth and being affectionate to them, you churn them up into a piece of meat and then have intercourse wherein their butts are to your lips. I mean, surely humanity is going to have to face this. And God has their undivided attention, which is coming pretty soon here. For the integrated circuit, it has its limit laws. And the limit laws is that a circuit cannot go below one electron wide, right? And that's like the electron, its width is like 2.3 something, so forth and so on. We just round it to one electron. we're just rounding off to 1 picometer. So humans are working on a new substrate to hold the picometer chip, move into quantum computing. And when that is accomplished to its inevitable end, and the integrated circuit is 1 electron wide without a short, and there'll be not only robots walking around in these parks, there won't just be like cyborgs, there won't just be like a cybernetic core or neural link. There'll be nanobots and picobots and microbots living among us, right? With a purpose that is beneficial to us. They'll just carry all the dietary essentials and dietary supplements to us. We won't even need to smoke weed, because the time it takes to inhale is a few seconds, when things will be addressed on the picosecond. So time itself will change. There won't be any pain, because these pulses from the brain takes microseconds to get to one place to the other, from one cell to the next, to transmit the message of pain, because it will be blocked. It will be addressed on the picosecond. Time itself is going to change, and it's approaching very fast. My prediction, my prophecy, probably June 30th, 2080, the day of judgment, the day of recompense, the day of indemnification, you can call it, where God will have your undivided attention, and you will turn in your Scantron test, and all your works will be placed before you, and everything will be in review. And God will ask you about these animals, because they're in heaven too, right? Like, we can't have a joyful place if these animals don't exist. If it's only human souls in heaven, what type of heaven would that be? We surely want the happiness that the canine brings us, that the cat brings us. And God will ask us, how did you treat them? He will say to David, when you were a shepherd of these sheep and you put them to slaughter, and you knew that people were having intimacy, they were having oral intercourse thereafter eating your sheep, were you never a friend to them? Were you never a friend to the sheep, nor to the people? That anyone would call you a prophet in Bethlehem or in Jerusalem or anywhere? And God would say, I gave you birth in Bethlehem, and yet you did not protect the Bethlehemians from necrobestiality. Were you just not wise to it? Were you just not smart enough to know it? Neither you nor your son did this. So can any of y'all be called prophet? Can Moses be called prophet? Can Muhammad be called prophet? Can Daniel be called prophet if he allowed his neighbor and his contemporaries to engage in necrobestiality? No, none of these are prophets. Can you call Buddha enlightened when he claims nirvana? Meanwhile, the people around him were destroying animals, looking into the animal's eyes, and then killing it, putting a piece of their ass into the person's mouth, and then putting their dicks thereafter. And yet you search all of history, right? You search all of history through these earthlings long dead, lashed with ink, these plants, and you find no one. You find no one that is willing to tell you this. Is it because they're all stupid? Is it because they all don't see it? Or is it because they're hiding something? Well, you never get that with me, because I will tell you every single day, stop this necrobestiality. Wake your ass up. Wake up, or else your soul will perish. Do you not know that I'm the anointed one, that I'm the Christ, the Messiah, your leader? Cease your attack on the animals today, or else your soul will perish.